All right, here we are today to show you how to export your frames out of Flash into a usable format that you can make a movie out of, using and then edit the movie using iMovie, Windows Movie Maker, Adobe Premiere, other editing programs. Here I am with on Evan's account, Evan's little animation. So I'm just going to play through that animation for you right now. With the screen recording software, we got a little bit of a lag, but you get the general sense of the video. It's a nice little quick animation. Now what I want to do is I want to export these frames out, visual frames. Now there are several ways to export movies out of Flash. Some that will give you a SWF file, one that will give you a PNG sequence, some that will give you a GIF sequence, some that will give you a QuickTime file. Each has their merit, and you're more than welcome to experiment with them. However, I want you to try and use a JPEG sequence. I found the least amount of errors with it, and it just works. I know that it works. You don't get transparency issues. You don't get ghosting issues. Just use a JPEG sequence. The other thing you're going to want to make sure of is when you save it, don't have your file end with a number. This is actually going to save several files. It's going to start with 0001 and move on up to 0002 all the way to 0150. If you add an extra number in there, suddenly instead of it being 0001, it's going to be, say, 30001, which the compiler doesn't like those numbers. So we're just going to have the number here. Now, some students are finding issues with saving files directly to the desktop, directly to the documents folder. It's saying that the movie can't be exported. If you run into this error, like we did, make a new file on the desktop, a new empty folder on the desktop. We called ours export. We called it export. It's an empty file, and that's where we're going to save all of our images. So to create a new file on the desktop, it's pretty easy. Just when you're out in your desktop, just create a new folder, give it a name, and go from there. I've already done that. We've created the export file. So I'm going to go ahead and hit export and hit save. And assuming everything works, it's going to ask you some settings. This is the default pixels, resolution, all of that stuff. If you want to change it, but it's easier to just leave it at the default. Click OK. You're going to see the little bar. You wait for the little bar, and your image sequence will be created. While that's working, I'm going to pull up a Finder window, open up that export folder, and you're going to see a list of files being populated. So as it's exporting, it's creating another file, and you notice it's Evan Flash Anim GTI Balls 0036. The next one to be created is going to be 37, and so on and so forth. Apparently it caught up to me. It's going to take a couple of minutes. So while it's exporting these out, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look for our compiler. Now there are lots of different compilers out there, but the one that I like most for Mac is called FCheck. It comes with the Autodesk software, so most of us have it installed. You just type in the search bar FCheck. Click it, opens up, gives us our window. If you want to use another compiler, that's fine. Just keep in mind that other compilers have their advantages and disadvantages. Again, FCheck is free with Maya, so it works out really nice. I know it works differently on a PC, so if you're on a PC, that may affect you differently. And looks like we're just about in time. It's finishing up our exporting our image sequence. I go into FCheck. When I'm in FCheck, I'm going to go File, Open Sequence. Navigate to the first file of the sequence, which is going to be called Evan Flash 001. I click Open, and it's going to start playing through the files. It's going to play through them really, really fast. That's normal. It's to be expected. You'll worry about timing and speed in iMovie or another editor where you're at. So here I'm looking at that. Yes, I understand the frame rate on that is way too fast, but this isn't how the movie's going to appear. This is merely just showing you that it's playing the animation back. The last step is to go File, Save as a Movie, give it a name. I'm going to call this Exported Movie, and just for good measure, I'm going to put it in that export folder. So it should be export, and go ahead and save the exported movie. We didn't do anything to change the speed or the colors, so I'm just going to hit no transformations. Use transformations would be if we change things. It doesn't matter. Click either one. And that leaves you with a movie file. I'm going to go ahead and open my exported movie file, which is saved here as exported movie. Going to go ahead and open it up, take a look. This is where it gets a little tricky for some of you. To edit the movie, you cannot use your personal account if you're here at the GTI. if you want to use iMovie, you actually have to use the student account. So we need to take this exported movie and move it to the hard drive. You could also move it to a flash drive or a website like Dropbox.com or the Google Drive or whatever you have. You need to get the file so that you have access to it when you log into the student account. The easiest way for me is to just drag it to the Macintosh HD. If your Macintosh HD is not in your favorites, show path bar. Then when you do the path bar, if I'm in desktop, you notice it says students and then your name and then desktop. However, if I click applications, you notice that I have the Macintosh HD or hard drive or some other name. But I'm just going to click and drag that into my favorites, and now it's available so that I can see it. Now the step is to go back to my desktop, my exported files, locate the movie, drag the movie from this window into the Macintosh HD, drop it, hit authenticate. You're going to be asked to put in a password. The password is student, onto the hard drive or your flash drive or whatever else, and you're good to go. That's all we're going to do. This is part 1 of the video. In part 2, I'll show you how to use iMovie to edit your movie and export it out to have sound and titles and all that other fun stuff. If you don't want to use iMovie and you don't want to add sounds and you're happy with the file the way it is, go ahead and turn that file in. And we're going to go ahead and try to stop this video if I can find out where the stop recording is. There it is.